Hi there, in this screencast I'm going to add the Flappy Bird sprite to the screen and animate him, or it I should say. Okay, so the first thing is you want to make sure that all of the sprite images for the motion patterns that you want your sprite to exhibit are located in the images folder of your game. And also, you want to make sure that they're numbered and in the correct sequence. And ideally, you would want them to have transparent backgrounds. If they don't have transparent backgrounds, you should go through and give them transparent backgrounds in Paint.net. So in Flappy Bird, there are only actually, believe it or not, there are only 3 images to animate the bird. There's bird 0, bird 1, and bird 2. So I already have those in my Z drive. So in the images folder of the game, so I'm all ready to create my bird class and add him to this world and animate him. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the actor. I'm going to right click on actor and do new subclass, and I'm going to give my class the name bird. So automatically you should see all of the images in your Z drive. So I'm going to pick bird 0 for his image, and then I'm going to open him, or open his class, or its class I should say, and I'm going to create a constructor method for the bird class. So the constructor method once again is executed whenever an instance of the bird class is created and added to the world. And it will have the same name as the class without any return type. Okay, so I'm going to say public bird. All right, and now I'm going to create a few variables for the bird. And one of them is going to be an array of Greenfoot images. So I'm going to say Greenfoot images, and I'll say call it bird images equals new Greenfoot image 3. So this creates an array of whose length is 3, where I'm going to store the images that I'm going to load the images into this array in consecutive order so that I can cycle through them when the game is running. So in bird, not only am I going to load them, but I'm also going to scale all of them. So let me scale them first and then load them into the array. So I'm going to say Greenfoot image, I'm making a temporary variable, G equals new Greenfoot image, and then it would be bird0.png. And then I'm going to say g.scale, and I think from what I remember it's 150 wide by 100, makes him a decent size. And then I'm going to say, let's see, bird images bracket 0 equals G. All right, and then I'm going to say, do the same thing for the next ones. G equals new Greenfoot image bird 1. And if you're using something other than Flappy Bird, you would do this for each image in your game for that sprite. And then I'm going to say bird images 1 equals, no, I need to scale the next one first. So it's going to be g.scale 150, 100, and then bird images 1 equals G. Okay, and then I'm going to repeat the same thing for position 2 in my array. So I'm going to say bird 2, G scale, and bird images 2 equals G. So now I have an array of bird images that are going to demonstrate the flying pattern. And I apologize for the banging on the background. I'm in the robotics room, and the facilities people appear to be doing work, but I'm in the middle of the screencast, so I'm going to just continue on with it. Okay, so now I'm going to make a variable, and you know what, let me make these be private variables. They will be by default if I don't specify anything, but I'm just going to specify them as private, which you don't really need to know much about what that means. So I'm going to say animation count. Okay, and then I'm going to do animation count equals 0 in the constructor. And my animation count is an int variable, so I need to declare it as such. Alright, I had a little pause to test something, and when I tested it, I figured out that more realistically, the bird should be scaled at, images should be scaled at 75 pixels wide and 50 pixels tall. So I changed 150 to 50, 150 comma 100 or whatever I had before to 75, 50. Okay, so now we're ready to add the variables that are going to animate our bird. So I'm going to go up and I need to declare 3 int variables right under the bird class. So I'm going to say private int and then animation count and animation image. And then I'm also going to declare a final, what's called a final variable, which is essentially a constant value. So I'm going to call it animation underscore speed. And I'm going to give it a value of 3. And I'll explain what that means in just a minute. Just know that once you create a constant variable, you can't change its value once you assign it. So it's like a variable who you can never change its value from after the one place where you assign it a value. So it's going to be speed, given a value speed. And the other thing is, you'll notice is in all capital letters. The programmer's convention is to give final variables names that are in all caps, because it alerts the programmer that this is pretty much a constant variable. Okay, so I need to also give values to both animation count and animation image. So I'm going to say in the constructor animation count equals and 1, and I'm going to say animation image equals 0, and I'll explain what those mean in just a second. So basically, for animation, what we're going to be doing is cycling through the images in the bird images array. However, we don't want to change the image every single time the act method executes, going 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, since the elements in the array are in position 0, 1, and 2. We want to only do it every so many times that the act method executes. So to do that, we created this variable animation count and animation speed. So what we're going to do is constantly be counting between 1 and 10. We're going to constantly be cycling between 1 and 10, or 1 and 3, and then every time that the act method executes, when the animation count reaches 4 or 3, or I'm sorry, the animation speed, we're going to set it back to 1 and increment animation image, so that the way it's going to work is it's going to go in the background when the act method is executing. Animation count is going to go 1, 2, 3. Oh, increase animation image by 1, maybe from 0 to 1. 1, 2, 3. Increase animation image from 1 to 2. 1, 2, 3. Increase animation image back to 0. So the advantage of this is we can easily change animation speed, and the bigger the value we make it, the slower the animation is going to go. So that's a something that's very convenient for our purposes. So what we're going to do, we're going to go down to the act method, and we need to access game state. So we're going to say my world equals my world get world. And in Flappy Bird, we only want to animate the image during when the game state is in startup mode. It's the only time it's animated automatically. When the game's running, it's animated every time the user presses the button, but when in startup mode, the bird is the only time it's really just flying along. All right, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to say animation count plus plus, and I'm going to say if animation count equals animation speed, then I set animation count. Oh no, I'm sorry. It's not if it's equal to, it's if animation count mod equals 0. Okay, so that means if you divide animation count, you do modulus division with whatever animation count is, and you get a remainder of 0. Animation count, that means animation count has hit what animation speed is. So I'm going to say animation count equals 1, and I'm going to say animation image plus plus, and then I'm going to say if animation image equals, so the last image is in position 2 of my bird images array, so I'm going to say if it reaches 3, then I need to set it back to 0 and update the image of the bird. So I say set image. Okay, and now I'm going to reference the array, and I'm going to reference the animation image position in the array. Okay, so that should do it. Hopefully I didn't have any errors here. I'm going to go in, and now I'm going to create a bird in my world. So I'm going to open the editor, and I'm going to say bird. Actually, no, I'm going to go up and declare a bird. So right here I said private bird, and then the variable name is going to be bird. So I'm going to say down in the constructor of my world, I'm going to say bird equals new bird. And then I need to add it to the world. I will add it in, let's try position 100, comma, get height divided by 2. All right, and now let me go. Oh, you know what? As soon as I said that we need to access world, I was interrupted by somebody, and I didn't put the if statement that's in the bird class that says if world.get game state dot equals startup, then do all of this. So this is all going to need tabbed in by 1. All right, and I'm going to need another closed curly brace, I believe. Yes. So that needs tabbed in, and so does that one. Okay, so now let me give it a shot, and I'm going to cross my fingers, and hopefully this will work. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to do run. Okay, so he's flapping pretty quickly. So let me open my game, and I'm going to change in the bird class. I'm going to make animation speed be like something like 10 instead of 3, because the bird actually flaps pretty slowly in Flappy Bird. Yeah, there we go. All right, so there I have my bird. He's flapping along by having this variable called animation count that's going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then every 10th time it resets itself back to 0 and increases the variable that controls which image is displayed. So the whole process just keeps going on and on and on and on as long as the game is in startup mode. All right, hope this was helpful, and I think the screencasts in the future are going to be getting shorter, so I know I've had two 15-minute ones in a row, so hopefully it'll be easier, a little bit easier after this one.